It's
It's Saturday.
Saturday.
Happy Saturday. We're
Yeah.
doing a podcast on our free time.
Sure.
So right, we don't have a whole lot to do, I guess.
Is
But
time really free? What do you, what
I agree.
yeah, is
Is
time
it?
really free, man? I mean, this is
I know.
time has a price, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Time has a price. You got to make good use of your time
Absolutely, man.
cuz
So I guess we do. I guess if you look at it from that perspective, we're doing the right thing.
cuz we're all going to run out of time eventually. So you
Right.
got to use your time wisely and to the best of your
Right.
ability, you know?
I agree.
Yeah.
So, well, we have this topic that we want to talk about today,
Mhm.
right? Expat versus immigrants,
Oh,
right?
jeez.
But before we dive into that, why you don't introduce yourself? Kind of talk about who you are,
Mhm.
where you live, all this stuff, so people know who you are, and then we can just start topics and stuff.
For those that know me, know that I'm from another dimension, and for those that don't know me, now you know that I'm from another dimension. I live in Buenos Aires, Argentina, over the rainbow in Buenos Aires, Argentina, searching for
Does
a
that mean
pot
you're
of
an
gold.
is that mean you're an alien? Because right now, you know, Obama and Trump say aliens are real, so
Uh,
maybe you're from another dimension. Maybe that's what it is.
yeah, well, as a matter of fact, I've spent most of my adult life teaching English, and
Uh,
I had a student who told me that he has his brother-in-law swears that he can detect aliens on the subways, on the buses, and among the average civilian, he could detect aliens. And he was serious about this. It's no joke. And there are people that believe that there are aliens living among us. Um, I don't know if that's possible or not, but why not? You know, I have a theory with regards to, aliens and humans. I think that in some way we are connected. It would be hard
right.
to believe that we are the only things alive in all this, the vastness of existence of everything. We are the only things capable of life and this. I don't know.
I wonder if we have immigrants, from outer space,
Yeah. They're
if we're gonna
expats. Hey,
deport
they're
them.
expats. Anyone from any other galaxy that's coming here, they're probably expats. They're probably spent 3 months and out. On an Earth visa. You know.
Right.
Yeah, they got their
Right.
visa, like Men in Black. Who knows?
Right. So
Yeah.
interesting. About me and you is like you live where I was born, and
Mhm.
I live where you were born.
Uh huh.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm in the U.S. You're in Argentina, so we kind of migrated around the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are
It's
an
very.
immigrant. You're
I'm
not
an
an
immigrant.
expat
Yeah,
because
I'm an
you've been there
immigrant.
for a long time.
Yeah, I'm an
Yeah.
immigrant. I'm definitely not an expat.
Right.
I say I'm an expat because I am an ex of something. If you're an expat,
Right.
you're an ex. You could be an ex-husband, an ex-boyfriend, an ex whatever. That means you once
Right.
were. But what is Pat? Patriot? I don't know. I was an Eagles fan, so if anything, I'm an ex-Eagle or ex-Philly or I
Right.
don't know. So it
Right.
depends, man. I think that a lot of people who say, "Hey, no, you're not an expat, you're an immigrant," they're probably, I don't know, resentful of something, because maybe they were labeled immigrant, but it's just a word. It's just,
Right. You know what? It's always come down to labels. I was
yeah.
talking to this woman she's from England, and she migrated to um some Asian country. I forgot what. Well,
Philippines,
it's one of
Hong
those countries. It's
Kong,
not the
Hong
one
Kong,
of those. I can't.
Indonesia,
Indonesia. That's
Indonesia.
what
Yeah.
she said. And we were talking about labels. And as you know, between you have political labels, you right, left, far right, far left. You have different labels. And the same with everything else in life. Like people like to label things, and I said, look, label divides people, right?
Yeah.
But she also had a good point. Like I agree and disagree with you to a certain extent because people like to live in groups and they like to identify with something. So if you remove labels, they don't know where they belong. And I think I agree with that. I mean, I
Yeah.
understood that was it makes sense, right? But
Yeah.
we have to be careful how we use labels. And I think
Sure.
the immigration label um, is bad right now. It's bad energy everywhere,
Yeah.
right? If you look at immigration topics in Spain, all over Europe,
Yeah.
right? And now in the America, especially South America, right now, I interview many Cubans or Venezuelans that live in Argentina or Uruguay, and there's a lot of people talking trash about them. And you have to measure people
Yeah.
individually, not in groups.
Yeah. I think, well,
And that
immigrant, okay, immigration is fine. That what gives it a bad connotation is illegal immigrant. So automatically you think immigration, oh, you're thinking illegal because there's a lot of illegal immigration. So
right,
that already is immigration. Ooh, because right now it's tagged to
right,
like illegal. What I'm saying? It's
right,
all right to be an immigrant. It's not all right to be an illegal immigrant. If you're gonna, you're gonna
right,
be, yeah, you're gonna do things right. You know?
right. Because
Yeah,
I understand where people are hurt from. You're an American and you go into another country, and you call yourself an expat. No,
yeah.
and most people that were labeled immigrants. No, you're an immigrant. You're not an expat, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And
yeah, just because first thing, man. I mean, this is new to us because ever since the pandemic, I mean, you couldn't get up and go work in Bali. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't get up and go to work in Manhattan, or you couldn't get up and go to
right,
work, in Costa Rica if you were a surfer because you didn't have the technology. You either went to another
right,
country, and when you went to another country, you probably stayed there for a while. And now people, they just bounce around. You have a lot of these nomads, these digital nomads. They just bounce around. They just bounce
right,
around from country to country. And then, they're not really immigrants because they're not there long enough to like form a family, to like get an ID, to maybe and then retire there. So I think that's what these expats more that's what they identify more with, just a
right,
temporary stay. So I don't think these temporary stay people, are really immigrants. They're just travelers. They're travelers. If you were a millionaire in the 70s and 80s and you traveled around from place to place and whatever, you weren't an immigrant. You were a tourist, an extranjero. You're a foreigner. But why
right,
immigrant? Why not foreigner or extranjero? You know what I'm saying?
right.
Uh, and
Y-
I'm in Argentina. We got labels for everything. You know,
Uh,
someone who's got one leg is El Ringo. He doesn't have a name. Here's El
right,
Ringo. His name's not Jose, Mariano, Manuel. Here's El Ringo. Huh?
right,
You
right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I live in a country
yeah,
where there's full of labels. Shanky, even in the
right.
States, man. It's a Woody
So
Allen one.
Paul,
Yeah.
about the labels, right? I agree with you. There's label for everything. And evidently, immigration has been a very hot topic right now.
Uh-huh.
And regardless of you're an expat or an immigrant, I don't think it really matters. You can label yourself whatever you want. It doesn't affect me personally.
Yeah.
Um, but I understand why other people feel that. But you say something that I think it really opened a good topic for discussion is illegal immigration, right? And we're both immigrant,
Yeah.
so we can talk about it. Um, I think I would never go to a country illegal.
Huh?
That would be me. First of all, because I wouldn't be able to go to work or work for someone illegal or being on the street illegal, or just the thought of going to bed thinking that I'm illegal, it's already a problem
Sure.
for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's something I wouldn't be able to do. I know why some people do it, but something I heard from a guy I interviewed before. He's like, if you're complaining about being in, being in this country, you're complaining about we're talking about the U.S. or whatever country you are. You're
Sure.
basically complaining about a choice that you made, and that resonate with me, still with me, because it's true. I think about when I wanted to move to the U.S. You're planning. You don't know how things gonna go, but you make the step. It's a big step, right? You gotta have
Yeah.
the courage and going to a country that I don't speak the language, I don't know the culture, and I'm going to try, see if it works out. And if you're determined, it's going to work out because I'm determined. I'm gonna make it happen. Now, what if that didn't work out? Then obviously I gotta say, well, I gotta come back to Argentina because it didn't
Mhm.
work out. So you're responsible for the choices that you made, whether you
Yeah.
migrate illegal
Yeah.
or
Also,
legal.
you got to get lucky, man. You have to have a work ethic. You have it depends, man. How old were you when you went to the States, when you migrated? 24,
I was
22, 20?
21 or 22, right? But
What
what I
year
say, what
what
I'm
year
saying,
was that? What year was that?
that's in the 90s, 94, 95.
94,
But
95.
that was a choice I made. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is, like, if I choose to go illegal,
Yeah.
I know that I could get caught in the process. So why would I be upset if I get deported?
Uh,
I'm not against immigrants, but I
uh,
think, and I understand, people want to have sympathy about you being a hardworking person
yeah.
and having a good heart and a family person. I get it, but you're still illegal,
Yeah.
right?
I gotta be
So
honest. Yes, I gotta be honest, man. I mean, here we have in Argentina, we got a population of 42 million, 43 million people. We
yeah,
got a lot of illegal Bolivians, Peruvians. The Paraguayans are legal, but we got a problem. We got to get rid of the Bolivians and the Peruvians, the illegals. Those are the ones that are
right,
bringing in the drugs. It's just like what Trump's doing in the U.S. He's trying to get rid of the illegals, man. The ones that bring in the drugs,
right,
the ones that are doing no good, the ones that are the you gotta weed them out, man. If you got a nice garden and it's full of weeds eating up all your flowers, what are you gonna do? You got to get rid of the weeds.
right,
And
right,
a country is the same way, man. Yeah, a house,
right,
if you live
right,
in a house and you got, it's the same thing.
right.
So, but anyway,
And like I said, I'm not against immigration, and I have a heart for people. I don't hate people that are illegal. But what I'm saying is, at what point you are responsible for the decision you make.
yeah,
So if you leave Venezuela to any direction, south or north, and you die in the jungle on the way there, is that whose fault is that? Is
yeah,
that the person that maybe you got killed or hurt on the way somewhere, or maybe just die of starvation, or maybe
sure,
you drown somewhere? Whose fault is that? So if you make it to the US or any country and then you caught illegal and you get returned, you
sure,
are playing a card, you're playing a game, you are making that choice. That was always on the table. So that's the part I understand. Then we can debate about, well, United States and is a uh, country of immigrants. I understand that. So is Argentina. So is the
Every
rest of
country,
America.
almost every country
Right,
is a country of immigrants, and even
right,
Africa. That's where the first
right,
aliens. That's where the first aliens landed and started having sex with
right,
the
right,
sex with the
right.
gorillas, and then the humans were born. If you want to get,
And
they
that's
were
when we
actually,
have AIDS. AIDS
yeah,
was born, I guess. I don't know. But
yeah.
I'm saying, like, it's interesting to me that, we cannot forget that we made choices, right?
Sure, yeah,
So Yes, and all I'm saying all this stuff because whether you're an expat or an immigrant, you made a choice. You made a choice, and if you're upset because you label as an immigrant, well, that's a choice that you made.
Yeah.
And if a person leaves the U.S. and go to live in Argentina or any other country, they want to call themselves an expat, but someone wants you to label you an immigrant. Well, it is what it is. So be it, because you made a choice to leave your country. And now you might play the politics, whether I'm an expat or an immigrant, but we all make a choice. We made
Yeah.
a choice. So, um, there's a lot of people right now that fleeing the U.S. They're
Sure.
moving because of the whole immigration situation, which is fine. You want to be at peace. You don't want to be walking on the streets. I am a legal immigrant, but tomorrow it is they decide to remove citizenship to all the legal immigrants. They're gonna deport me.
Yeah.
If they want to do that, they could do that tomorrow because Trump brought that up multiple times. I can remove citizenship. Okay, but that's a choice I made 30 something years ago. That was my choice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but
So,
we're talking 30 years ago, man. At 30 years ago, a person's sense of responsibility and a person's sense of prosperity and motivation and an eye towards the future was much different than a person's. If you take a 20-year-old today, you take how many
right,
20-year-olds today are mentally prepared to go to another country and become an immigrant. Uh,
oh,
you know what I mean? I don't know.
right.
Here, for example, if you want to talk about labels, here we have Terrians. You know what a Terrian is? Do you know what a Terrian is? Hmm?
No,
A
if you
Terrian
can explain me,
A Terrian, a Terrian is a person, usually a teenager between the ages of 14, I don't know, to 20, let's say, who identify as animals. Hmm? And they buy a mask, a nice mask, I mean, an expensive mask. They buy a tail. They buy a tail, and some of them have other other accessories like gloves, and they gather and they imitate animals, mostly
right?
dogs, cats, and now I saw one that thinks it's a snake. And they walk and they gather and they act like animals, and you see them in parks, and they're and they're called Terrians, man. I haven't seen
Right.
one myself. I'm looking forward to seeing one. And these people, one of these people, in 4 years, do you see them migrating to another country? Uh,
No,
uh, to the USA? Do you see any of these
no,
people traveling across the country to Asia? If right now they perceive themselves as animals, domestic
right.
animals, no. So, but anyway, so there's a bunch of labels, man. Does a Chinese person get mad where you said when you say, "Hey, I'm going to Chinatown"?
Right.
It's all the
Right.
way. It all depends on in the context of how you use it. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Chinatown, it's full of Chinese people. And they say, well, there's no cats in Chinatown. You know why? Yeah, because, the Chinese, they eat the cats. And it's all stereotypes, you know, and labels.
So someone in the comments say, Paul, they say the magnificent uh the magnificent Germany with Darren. That's his name on YouTube.
Uh-huh. What's
He's
up?
he's a he's a from Florida. Hello from Florida, he say.
What's up,
And
Florida?
he's saying they call ferries as well, but he never heard the term Tyrian, which
Terrian.
I
Yeah.
didn't know either.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't know either.
Tehrian. Yeah, and they
Oh,
gather. They have these gatherings, these meetings, and they all
mhm,
get together and they act like animals,
right,
and and they talk. The thing is, I want to
right,
know: are they vaccinated? Do they
right.
have their rabies shots? And are they, what happens? And I heard they bite you. Some of them will try to bite you.
Well, interesting enough, in Utah, uh, not too long, a few years ago, in Utah, there were complaints about children getting bit by this Tyrian, whatever they call it, or
Yeah,
Therian or whatever, right? And
Terrians.
yes, and they were being so a bunch of parents had to go to school and complain about that and talk to this kid's parent because they were doing that stuff. Now, I think they should be sleeping outside and eating cat food or dog food, whatever you are, and get treated like an animal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
Yeah, but it's hard for parents, man, especially parents that don't know how to handle this. There's no handbook. There's there's
right,
no
right,
there's no there's no parents handbook. We weren't,
right.
there's no
I had to
handbook.
take, I had to remove him because this is very loud, makes a lot of noises.
Oh yeah, Agustine's
So
connection is it's a shame, Agustin. Just
it's really
maybe
bad. So
you can participate on the chat, but
right,
his connection. He's in Rosario, you
yeah,
know.
he can talk on the chat, but his connection is making a lot of noises. Anyways, going back to immigrations, but yeah, man, like I can see any of those people migrating anywhere, but migrating is not for anybody. You have to have a clear uh understanding of what you want. It doesn't have to be 100%, but you gotta have some sense of direction, right? And when you go into another country, you're making that choice.
Yeah.
Either you want to admit it or not, you're making a choice. Either you make it before or later, it doesn't matter when in your life, but it's a choice you make. Like I'm sure for you, Paul, when you went to Argentina, it wasn't easy, and
Oh, I had a good
but you
time.
adapted to it, huh?
I had a good time.
Yeah, well,
It was
yes,
easy.
but well, maybe it
It was
was for you, right?
it was easy, man, because it's different. I mean, it's different, dude, because being an Argentine and going to the US, unless you're like, I know Argentines that live in LA, and they went there and they became very, very successful. Uh Very successful. And but for me it was different because I came here in the 90s when there were no Americans.
Right,
So, and the only Americans you saw were on the TV or in TV shows, or the only Americans you heard, or the only English you heard was like in music and stuff like that. So for me, it was like,
right,
whoa, he's a Shanky. As opposed to like, oh no, he's from Haiti. He's Jamaican, you know what I mean? It's just like, whoa, they were holding Americans and anyone from other countries on a pedestal. You
right,
know what I'm saying? So, and it gave you a certain advantage of a sense of maybe a kind of superiority.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
This time,
Yeah. So,
and
yeah. So for me, it was easy to get ahead because since from a very early age, I worked. I had all kinds of jobs. My first job was at 12 delivering groceries at a grocery store. Then I was working at restaurants and I was working
mhm,
in supermarkets, and I always worked. So when I got here, I had a lot of skills. And plus
right,
I spoke English. And so it was easy for me to become, an immigrant. I mean, mind you, I don't live in a lap of luxury. My life is pretty basic, pretty simple. Like I said,
right,
I enjoy my time and I only work because, I need the bare essentials. but I don't have that sense of, "Oof, I need that really, really big house," or I need that really, really fancy car." I just need a car. I would love to
Right,
have a Mercedes, but I know if I wanted a Mercedes, I would have to work. And like we started when we started talking today, it's all about time and how you use your time because we're all going to run out of time. So use your time wisely and use your time
right,
for things that, fill you or
right.
fill the lives of others.
But
All
right,
right. All right, Claudio,
right, Paul.
man. All right, it was good spending this time with you and everybody
This
out
was fun,
there.
man. Let's
All
do this
right.
again next month.
All right, buddy.
All right, Paul.
I'll talk to you later.